I actually have faced a lot of stigma and discrimination around HIV, being HIV positive. But it's also part of what makes me as strong as I am, because if the worst you can imagine is that somebody's going to be mean to you, once somebody's mean to you, that loses power, really loses power, it loses its sting. When I found out I was HIV positive, I was an executive chef in a restaurant, and I used to have to explain who Julia Child was. Now I don't anymore. But I was the next Julia Child, and I was on television, and I was blowing things up and burning my hair and having a wonderful time. Regretfully, HIV is something that people don't want to have in the kitchen when somebody's cooking their food. 43% of the American population is afraid of eating food that somebody who's HIV positive cooks. So I was fired from that job because of other people's fear of me transmitting my HIV. And I'm like, well, as long as we're not in the back cooking dinner, meaning having unprotected sex, you're pretty okay. But there's that fear. And so when people start getting into a fear cycle, they start making bad decisions that put people like me in a place that we aren't able to do things that we love, like cook in a professional kitchen. The stigma and discrimination question is really a tough one, because you can talk about it from the micro to the macro. I wanted to open my own restaurant. Because I'm HIV positive, I don't qualify for a life insurance policy. If you don't have a life insurance policy, people don't lend you money. I couldn't open a restaurant without a business loan. And so if you start unpacking all of these things that people take for granted in just their everyday life, it's amazing. I have a friend who wanted to have a child, and she started talking about wanting to get pregnant, and she's HIV positive. And she had doctors and other HIV positive people coming down saying, well, of course you're not going to have a child because you might pass that virus on to your kid. Yeah, maybe in 1993, 94, 95, 96, that was a problem. But now in 2012, we've dropped the transmission rate so low that it's negligible. That's the word I was looking for. We've dropped the transmission rate so low that it is absolutely negligible. It's so small, it is hard to even measure. But still, there's that assumption that she's going to have an HIV positive child and that she's selfish for wanting to have a child. Then we can talk about hiring practices. I mean, if you're HIV positive, oftentimes you can't work 40 hours sitting at a desk. We need more creative structures of a job environment. We need 20 hours. We need to job share with somebody. Boulder, we come up with some pretty creative solutions for things. Actually, I think most people come up with creative solutions when they're hard pressed. But HIV positive people are so incredibly underemployed because of the fear and the judgment that goes along with it. And I also need to talk about self-stigmatization, because I'm very open about being HIV positive. And the reason why I am is that if I say HIV positive is something that I have, it's an illness, it's a virus I have, it is not who I am. It doesn't begin to define who I am. But if I'm afraid of telling people that I'm HIV positive, then I'm buying into the fact that being HIV positive is shaming and something I need to feel guilty about. And that's why I wish more people were open about their status, but I entirely understand, because like I said, I don't have a job that I need to worry about getting fired from. I don't have children that I need to worry about they're getting tossed out of school because the principal's afraid that they might be HIV positive and that might infect some of the kids or scare the parents. I'm married, I don't have to negotiate the dating pool. And so when I think about stigma and discrimination, that's the biggest single problem we have, because we know in the United States that there's 1.2 million people who are HIV positive, 290,000 are women. Until everybody in the United States knows somebody who's HIV positive, and until everybody sees that we are just as weird and strange and wonderful as everybody else, we're going to be something that people are afraid of. And that is stigmatizing ourselves and allowing us to say, judge me because I'm HIV positive. So I don't buy into it.